a vessel had run aground. Subsequently, its steering became sluggish. An underwater inspection revealed damage to the rudder and rudder stock. A condition of class was issued and owners were required to dry dock the vessel as soon as possible. Based on the COC, a request for quotation was sent to various shipyards and a repair dry dock was selected. The repair duration as estimated by the shipyard was 5 days. Initial clearances taken in the presence of class surveyor. The top pintle bush was distinctly worn. There was a gap between the bush material and the horn in the lower pintle which suggested loss of material. It was decided to renew the bottom bush too. As grit blasting of the rudder was started late morning, rudder work commenced only in the evening. Heavy-duty lifting eyes were welded on either side of the rudder and the aft peak shell plate. Rudder pintle nuts were slackened. On the third day after docking, the rudder was unshipped. Work commenced on the rudder stock. The tiller assembly in the steering flat was dismantled. The new rudder stock, tiller and the unshipped rudder were transported to the workshop. No firm decision was taken on how to bed the tiller on the stock. However, it was clearly conveyed to the shipyard that, as the stock was new, any grinding required was to be done on the tiller alone. It was then realized that the job would take more than 5 days. The alignment of the bores in the rudder horn was checked using a taut steel wire. The shipyard claimed that the top pintle bore was off-center by 1 mm. As the accuracy of the method of measurement was in doubt, it was decided to recheck using other methods. Specialist laser alignment firms were called, but they required 2 days to mobilize resources. It was then decided to conduct all alignment checks using shipyard's resources. When the new stock was inserted, it was noticed that the taper in the tiller block bore did not match that on the stock. As a taper boring machine was not available, it was decided to use a vertical turning machine. The tiller assembly was machined down by 0.2 mm over a length of 30% from the top to get the necessary bedding. The pushing up of tiller onto the stock was tried out using the old key. However, when the new key was used, further modifications to the new key were required. Alignment check of the rudder revealed that the entire assembly was twisted. The bores of the pintle cones were checked for alignment with the center line of the rudder flange. The top pintle cone was off-center by 5 mm to the starboard and 0.8 mm aft. The lower pintle bore was off-center by 4.5 mm to the port side. This was a major setback. The rudder flange was found distorted. The face was machined to remove this distortion. This was done after completion of bedding. To correct the pintle bore misalignment, shipyard suggested repair by welding and grinding to finish. Class rejected this. An amended repair procedure using conical cast steel inserts was prepared and approved. Material for inserts and lower spindle bush was sourced. The new inserts were cold shrunk fit on the rudder and welded under controlled conditions. Alignment of the rudder blade and stock was conducted by bolting the two while flat on the shop floor. This was checked by the taut wire method in both horizontal and vertical planes. The lower spindle bush was cut away and the sleeved bore was checked. Bore alignment was remeasured and it was ascertained that the top spindle bore was off-center by 1.25 mm in the starboard aft direction. This was corrected using a portable boring machine. The new bushes were cold shrunk and fitted in place. The carrier bearing, tiller and stock were assembled. Rudder was taken to dock and lifted into place. The top spindle was pressed onto the cone hydraulically at 200 bar and lower spindle at 400 bar. Spindle nuts were tightened. New jumping blocks were welded in place and jumping clearance adjusted to 2 mm on both sides. The final spindle clearances were taken and found satisfactory. The locking arrangements and cementing of the palm nuts were completed. The access doors were welded. The rudder was turned in both directions and was found satisfactory. The total delay was about 30 days.